Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Mark Schreffler and I work in our Windows engineering organization, leading a team of technical program managers who work on our future hardware and software Windows platform technologies. My team's focus is on designing with Windows new and improved solutions for OEMs to deliver higher quality devices, as well as best-in-class first-party hardware. In today's panel, we'll discuss how Microsoft reduces security risks in the hybrid workplace with Windows 11 and Surface. I actually started my security journey with Windows XP SP2, so I've been with security since the beginning. Across Microsoft, security is built into our core DNA. It's a core component of nearly every team. Security by design has long been a priority of ours. We invest more than $1 billion a year on security and employ more than 3,500 dedicated security professionals. With Windows 11, we raised the security baseline, enforcing new built-in hardware security requirements that will give customers confidence that they're protected from the chip to the cloud on certified devices. Windows 11 is designed for hybrid work and security with built-in hardware-based isolation, proven encryption, and our strongest protection against malware. We keep our devices up to date to ensure you are protected for the lifetime of the device, not just the day you buy it. We make sure our hardware, firmware, drivers, and operating system undergo thorough security design and inspection before shipping. We then utilize Windows Update to make sure you are up to date from any new emerging threats. We are continuously working with our friends across Microsoft, including David's Windows security team, Chitra's governance, risk, and compliance team, as well as Ramya's endpoint management team, and our silicon and hardware partners to innovate and raise the bar on security. I'm excited to be here today with Chitra, David, and Ramya to discuss how Microsoft reduces security risks in the hybrid workplace with Windows 11 and Surface. Let me introduce you to our panel. Chitra, why don't you kick things off and introduce yourself?
Thanks, Mark. I'm Chitra Gopalakrishnan, and I lead the governance, risk, and compliance function for Windows and devices, driving regulatory and product compliance, security and industry certifications, and business resiliency. It's gratifying to be in a team that is consistently at the forefront of strengthening customer trust, managing risks, and protecting Microsoft's assets.
I'm Ramya Chitrakar. I'm the Director of Engineering for Microsoft Endpoint Manager. I joined Microsoft as a college hire working on Config Manager and Intune. I've been around for some time in the enterprise management space. One of the most rewarding parts of my job has been enabling IT pros and end users who rely on us for their security and management solutions. I'm really excited to be here today.
Hey everyone, I'm Dave Weston, better known as Twizzle. I run the security team for Windows as well as part of the enterprise team in Windows. So you can imagine I'm pretty relaxed, not a ton going on. It's been quiet in the news, right? No, but in all seriousness, I'm excited to be here talking about Windows 11 security, the great things we're doing, some of the things we're doing with hardware with Mark's team. So excited to be here today.
Awesome, thanks everyone. So in today's panel, we're focusing on how Windows 11 and Microsoft Surface are enabling organizations to reduce risks in the hybrid workplace. It seems that with each passing week, more stories of security breaches and data leaks hit the news cycle, with each incident affecting more and more people than before. Certain industries such as healthcare, financial services, and governments are especially vulnerable as they deal with confidential and personal information on the scales of tens of millions of people. As a result, software solutions and applications for security are top considerations for IT decision makers. These considerations include the deployment of solutions to address specific concerns, including endpoint protection and data loss prevention. Modern evolving cyber threats leverage a variety of attack vectors, most of which can be prevented at the software layer. However, today's software solutions have reached a limitation for comprehensive security and can't prevent all the attacks that are happening. Known major cyber threats are increasingly targeting the firmware and pre-operating system layers, precisely because anti-malware software isn't running yet. The NIST National Vulnerability Database has seen a 5-fold increase in the number of firmware attacks. The crucial moments before the operating system and its protections are loaded present a tremendous risk and opportunity for the malware to strike. Hackers are knowingly designing malware to leverage this attack vector. While the software solution limitations are known and hardware solutions may indeed help, the need for a holistic, integrated, out-of-the-box, chip-to-cloud solution cannot be understated. Hardware and software working together to create a strong security posture may be the only proactive way forward, given the scope and risks of modern cyber threats. This is paramount in our new hybrid world, where employees need to connect from their work environment from home as seamlessly as they do in the office. For today's session, we polled our customers and captured the top security questions that customers have for Surface and Windows 11. We'll get to those in just a minute, but first, I'd love to pose one question to each of our panelists, and that is, given your role, what is the top of mind threat for many customers, and what can they do to address it within their organizations? Chitra, can we start with you?
Sure thing, Mark. A big threat that many senior leaders are watching out for are supply chain attacks. As you mentioned, malicious actors are growing more sophisticated and going beyond a single organization or personal PC. The increase in these attacks is an outcome of complex supply chain ecosystems and are only expected to grow as global markets adjust to hybrid operations. Targeting software developers and suppliers, the goal of these attacks is to compromise trusted services, to access source codes, build processes, or update mechanisms by infecting legitimate applications to distribute malware. Often, these attacks start several companies away from the intended target, making it very difficult to spot the issue. The devastating SolarWinds cyber attacks served as a stinging reminder that even the most sophisticated security defenses can be breached through legitimate third-party processes. Common types of supply chain attacks that we are seeing are compromised software, building tools, or updated infrastructure, stolen code signed certificates or signed malware applications using the identity of a dev company, compromised specialized code shipped into hardware or firmware components, and pre-installed malware on devices such as cameras, USB, and phones. So you can see that security best practices, security by design, and baselining are critical to help secure end-to-end supply chain. Here are 5 examples. First, organizations should start by assessing their current strategies and practices. How effective are they? Do they align with compliance requirements and adapt to evolving risk realities? And to keep up with the government and critical service providers who are looking at new level of assurance for securing end-to-end supply chain, are they having various security requirements such as the Cybersecurity Executive Order? Second, conducting regular penetration testing and vulnerability scans will help identify potential weak points in supply chain security and close down potential compromise pathways. Third, by identifying and encrypting highly sensitive data, enterprises can reduce the reach of supply chain attacks that do occur. Even if malicious actors gain access, they won't be able to leverage protected assets. Fourth, companies must conduct an in-depth analysis of supplier security practices through third-party risk management programs. They need to break down internal operational silos to ensure all departments are on the same page when it comes to protection. And lastly, and the most important one, companies should implement a zero trust framework, an always verify, never trust framework, so they can create a functional frontline of defense. At the end of the day, it all comes down to trust. So making security a shared responsibility in the organization, staying on top of these security best practices, and having the right security solutions will be critical to address supply chain threats.
I completely agree with you, Chitra. And as you mentioned, Mark, over the last year, PCs have kept us connected to family and friends and enabled businesses to continue to operate. This new hybrid work paradigm has got us thinking about how we will continue to deliver the best possible quality, experience, and security for more than 1 billion people who use Windows. It's been rare to get through a day without reading an account of a new cybersecurity threat. Phishing, ransomware, supply chain, IoT vulnerabilities, the list is endless. And their attackers are constantly developing new approaches to wreak additional havoc through new attacks. Organizations today recognize that security breaches are really expensive. Data shows it takes, on average, 190 days to identify a new data breach. The total cost to companies worldwide in 2018 was nearly $4 million per data breach. Meanwhile, in 2019 alone, companies spent over $124 billion to keep their systems and infrastructure secure. And by 2027, they are expected to spend another $10 billion on security awareness training for employees. Additionally, while we think of security attacks as an IT problem, the reality is that the IT department isn't the only one to suffer when security is breached. Breached companies recover to NASDAQ to pre-breach performance levels after 38 days on average, but 3 years after the breach, they still underperform the index by a margin of over 40%. The most likely reason for an organization to experience a target attack is, in general, intelligence gathering, which is the motive for 96% of groups. The average cost of downtime is 24 times higher than the average ransom amount. On top of the immediate cost of a cyber attack, the legal costs can be even more concerning. Companies can be sued by customers whose personal information has been stolen, and many businesses are fined by regulatory agencies if a breach is determined to have happened due to negligence. But as attacks have increased in scope and sophistication, so have our security measures. Microsoft has a very clear vision for how to help and protect our customers now and in the future, and we know our approach works. With the rollout of Windows 11, we push to raise security baselines with new built-in hardware security requirements that will give our customers the confidence that they're even more protected from the chip all the way to the cloud on certified devices. Windows 11 is redesigned for hybrid work and security with built-in hardware-based isolation, proven encryption, and our strongest protection against malware. Our motto is simple: security by design, built in and turned on.
Top of mind for me is zero trust, especially in the world of hybrid work, exactly as Chitra mentioned. And management is key to enabling zero trust. With remote work, working from anywhere really, the attack surface also grew really fast. So it's just as critical to deploy the zero trust model. And that's where modern management principles become really essential. Some of these principles are monitoring your device risks constantly and proactively, moving your security policies to the cloud. In these times, it's hard to expect to always have connectivity back to your corporate network. We've made a bunch of upgrades and improvements under the hood in Windows 11, as David mentioned, including powering modern management. To start with, we've delivered over 1,400 new CSP settings in Windows 11. Now, it's easier than ever to move to cloud-native, MDM-based management of Windows 11 with Microsoft Endpoint Manager. We realize group policy has been there for a long time. We've done good analysis with some very large customers. Windows, Office, and Edge settings have great coverage. We also released Group Policy Analytics, which is a feature in Intune that analyzes your on-premises group policy objects. It helps you determine how group policy object settings translate to these MDM settings in the cloud. It shows you which settings are supported by MDM providers, settings which are deprecated or not available to MDM providers. There's also the capability to directly migrate these to profiles in Endpoint Manager. This is the opportunity to also really analyze if you need some of the old GPOs. We've had some large customers go pure cloud native with Intune and Azure Active Directory all during the pandemic and have been really successful to deploy their zero trust model to enable hybrid work for their end users.
Fantastic insights. Thank you, everyone. Chitra, this next question is for you. Going back to the importance of staying connected and productive in hybrid work, Windows 365 recently reached general availability. Chitra, can you talk a little bit about how Windows 365 supports hybrid work?
Windows is evolving from being a device-based operating system to a hybrid personal computing platform, flexible for people and scalable for business. Windows 365 is a cloud service that introduces a new way to experience Windows for businesses of all sizes, securely streaming the full Windows experience, applications, data, and settings from the Microsoft Cloud to any personal or corporate device. With Windows 365, you can assign users one cloud PC or many cloud PCs that align to the work they need to do, and each cloud PC can align to a different configuration of compute power and storage. Microsoft is committed to empowering our customers and their employees to work securely while ensuring productivity anywhere and anytime on any device.
Thank you. It's great to see our on-device security improvements along with our cloud offerings. So David, we saw you just penned a great blog post about Windows 11 and built-in security. Can you tell us more about that?
With Windows 11, our goal was to raise the security baseline to defeat the increasing number of threats our customers are facing. In our recent Security Signals blog, One of the things we analyze through our customers and asking security decision makers are, what are your top challenges? One of the things we heard is 80% of our security decision makers have stated that hybrid work makes them more vulnerable than their previous on-premise work environment. To respond to this customer feedback, we have raised the security bar in Windows 11 to make it our most secure version of Windows ever. The way we did that was by turning on more of the security features that were previously optional in 10 and leveraging our hardware breakthrough security advancements through our OEM and silicon partners to make Windows and the devices in our ecosystem as secure as they can be. We're really excited about this, and we believe it's going to really make a difference in this security environment. Thanks, Mark, for the question.
Thanks, David. I'm really excited to see us raising our Windows 11 security baseline. And Ramya, this next question is for you. Microsoft has made great improvements to Autopilot with Windows 11. Can you speak about how this helps customers scale to hybrid work, especially being geographically distributed and having the same zero trust goals?
Autopilot has played such a pivotal role during these times, enabling IT to ship devices directly to end users without ever physically touching the devices. Devices are pre-configured with policies, applications, VPN and Wi-Fi profiles that end users need, and by the time the end user lands on their desktop after their first boot, they have everything they need to be productive right away. IT can even customize the out-of-box experience with content specific to their organizations. They can use the reset functionality within Autopilot to set up existing devices for new users, which is a feature heavily used for remote work, especially for schools. Autopilot pairs really well with Windows 11 in cloud configuration, where there is no end-user state on the device. It works on new or existing Windows devices and does not require any new licensing, software, or hardware. Cloud configuration is set up with Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and it is a set of recommendations with applications and capabilities specifically chosen by IT, helping to improve end-user productivity while simultaneously improving the security posture and device compliance. Now, there is more you can do with Surface, which owns and develops its own UFI. Here, we have a feature called Device Firmware Configuration in Endpoint Manager, which allows IT to configure the device's firmware. It's quite powerful if you think about it. You can turn off booting from USB or disabling the device's camera, for instance. And combined with Autopilot, you can do this configuration down to the firmware level before an end user even reaches the desktop. So amazing. Now, for many organizations who have faced a rapid overnight transition to digital work and learning, Windows Autopilot was essential to their continued ability to support employees and students. IT organizations were faced not just supporting a handful of buildings or offices, but literally 30,000 plus locations with people working and learning from home. One incredible example of this is the Florida School District of St. Lucie Public Schools. When the pandemic hit, they had to quickly enable remote learning for its 40,000 students. The district's small IT team needed to supply more than 20,000 new laptops to its students countywide, as less than half of its students had access to school-managed devices pre-pandemic. With support of Autopilot, their IT team quickly enrolled all 20,000 devices. Had they tried to manually image each of those devices, it would have taken them months. As it was, it took them only 6 weeks and resulted in 90% reduction in their support calls. This really is just one example of what we have heard from so many customers, that remote deployment and management has been instrumental to their organizations. Device configuration and management through Windows Autopilot and DFCI has helped IT organizations reduce costs, save time, while helping to improve end-user productivity while simultaneously improving their security posture.
What a great example. Thanks, Ramya. David, this one's for you. What is the distinction that secure core PCs bring to customers? How does this better protect our customers?
Great question, Mark. So we've made significant strides in that journey from chip to cloud zero trust right out of the box. In 2019, we announced Secured Core PCs that apply security best practices to the firmware layer or device core that underpins Windows. To address the need for strong security for industries handling PII or personally identifiable information and confidential data, Microsoft created highly secure Surface PCs along with 10 other OEMs, and we partnered with all leading PC manufacturers to innovate a new class of secured devices to counter security challenges for industries requiring mission-critical data protection right out of the box. These devices combine hardware, software, and OS protections to help provide end-to-end safeguards against sophisticated and emerging threats like those against hardware and firmware that are on the rise. According to NIST, or the National Institute for Standards and Technology, as well as the Department of Homeland Security, our Security Signals report found that 83% of businesses have experienced some kind of firmware attack, and only 29% are actually allocating the resources to protect this critical layer of defense. Some of the key benefits of a secured core PC with Windows 11 include powerful security capabilities integrated across software, hardware, firmware, and identity protection. Deep integration between Microsoft device manufacturers and chip manufacturers to deliver powerful security capabilities that help prevent infections across software, firmware, and hardware. Security features across the stack are enabled by default on secured core PCs by the device manufacturers, helping customers start secure from the very beginning. Unlike software-only security solutions, secured core PCs are designed to prevent attacks rather than just simply detecting them after they've happened. And they are resistant to future attacks by utilizing comprehensive and hardware-integrated security solutions. By leveraging advanced hardware security capabilities and reducing the firmware attack surface, Microsoft has helped enable device-to-cloud security, which extends the identity and security protections like BitLocker or Microsoft Defender for endpoints that businesses have come to expect from Windows 11 Professional, all while enabling an amazing breadth of device choices. Both Surface and Secured Core PCs provide the highest level of endpoint security through integrated hardware, firmware, software, and identity protection. With the current remote work and shift to hybrid, you can enjoy the confidence that your data, devices, and user identities are protected with today's Secured Core PCs.
David, I love that our customers can be so confident in our Windows 11 security solutions. Ramya, you talked a bit about in your introduction about how management is key to enabling zero trust. Can you talk about how to enable zero trust for the endpoint?
Sure thing. One theme that stands out for us as Microsoft owning the entire stack, from the hardware, the OS, the security stack, and the management stack, is that security is built in and it's not bolted on. For covering the various aspects of security, whether reactive, like antivirus, or proactive, like endpoint detection and response, or EDR, or threat and vulnerability management, you don't need multiple agents. With Windows, it's all built right into the OS. And with Endpoint Manager, you can simply activate these built-in agents on the OS. We also offer tamper protection to keep you secure. And we operate service to service between Defender and Endpoint Manager to make this experience seamless for you. Now let's look at the IT pros, the IT admin and the security admin, who also need an integrated solution to reduce the response time in today's world of sophisticated cyber attacks and threats. Security admins want to manage antivirus, for instance. They want to do security policy management, and they may not have configuration management with our stack. At Ignite, we are announcing a single pane of glass for security management with Microsoft Endpoint Manager for Defender for Endpoint clients, even if the devices are not enrolled to Microsoft Endpoint Manager. We are launching the support for Windows 10, 11, and servers. You can see the benefits of one stack, one integrated solution all the way from the OS, Windows, to Defender, to Endpoint Manager, working in tandem to keep your endpoint secure.
Thanks, Ramya. Built-in sounds way better than bolt-on. Having a complete end-to-end stack is so important. David, this next question is for you. Can you tell us a bit more about Pluton?
Absolutely. So one of the key tenets of having good security is reducing how attackable your system is. This is what we call an attack surface. A system needs as few attack surfaces as possible, and they should be as tiny as possible to minimize any potential intrusion. Beyond that, any additional security to detect and protect is super vital. In order to create a more unified system, Microsoft Pluton Security Processor, which works with Windows, is coming to 3 major hardware vendors: AMD, Intel, and Qualcomm. What makes this different is that this is a physical in-hardware implementation that will be built directly into the future processors from each of these 3 companies. Pluton is a technology developed by Microsoft and provided to AMD, Intel, Qualcomm. It provides key security capabilities, including presenting a TPM or Trusted Platform Module equivalent into the silicon of every Windows-based PC in the future. Because Pluton will be in silicon, it severely reduces the physical attack surface of any Pluton-enabled device. In addition, Pluton's firmware is developed directly by Microsoft, which means it's deeply integrated into the security fabric of Windows. It's also maintained by Microsoft, which means key security and functionality patches will be delivered through Windows Update just like any other operating system component. Customers can expect to see more from Microsoft Pluton in the very near future.
Thanks, David. It's incredible to see the investment we're making with our hardware partners. Chitra, you mentioned in your intro the importance of a secure supply chain. Can you share a little bit more about what Microsoft's doing in this space?
Absolutely. Microsoft has an enterprise-wide effort to secure end-to-end supply chain right from the developer's check-in to build, chips to firmware, drivers, operating system, third-party application, manufacturing and factory, all the way to secure updates. This is paramount to our commitment to our customers that Microsoft runs on trust. While some would consider supply chain to be the physical manufacturing and shipment of devices, which it is, it also refers to the secure distribution of software to endpoints. For Microsoft and Surface, this means that not only do we ensure our devices are manufactured in highly secured facilities, but also every component is flashed with Microsoft written or signed software. Because Surface is solely designed and manufactured by Microsoft, the microcode on our components all the way to the Windows operating system is indeed authentic and safe. We also ensure that the first time you turn on your device with tools like BootGuard and Secure Boot, that you are booting the firmware and operating system that was installed on the device when it left the factory. From the factory to your doorstep and from securely distributing software to endpoints, Microsoft is highly committed and invested in enabling an end-to-end secure supply chain.
Thank you, Chitra. It's exciting to see our investment in the software end-to-end for our supply chain to ensure our customers are secure. And with that, I'd love to ask each of our panelists for their final thoughts. We'll start with you, Ramya.
I talked about integration throughout this conversation through various levels of our stack, how we come together as one team. From the hardware, the operating system, Windows 11, Azure Active Directory, Defender, Endpoint Manager, building the best, most secure and productive stack for our end users and one IT pros can trust. My final thought is really an ask to all of you. Try out the features we are talking about. It is based on feedback we heard from you, and we will be here to listen to more.
I thought it was a really great conversation today, and I hope some of you are able to pick up just a few security tips and things you can do to better protect yourself with Windows 11 and our secured core PCs. It's important in our hybrid environment that each and every person is aware of threats and doing their best to protect themselves and others. You can achieve this by making sure you're running the latest OS and hardware that provides the best possible protection in this environment.
When you're ahead of the game, you can't be gamed. It is getting more and more important to ensure security is a shared accountability across the organization at all layers, and to continuously innovate to stay on top of the latest threat vectors. And it's also worth going back to the basics. What amount of risk are organizations willing to take on? It comes down to risk management every single time.
Thank you, Ramya, David, and Chitra, and everyone for joining us today. To learn more about Windows 11, Surface, and endpoint management at Ignite and beyond, please check out our IT Pro blog and follow us on LinkedIn. Thank you.